speaking of better stuff moving forward, though, Ellie Goulding, however you want to say it, she is 63rd in the world on Spotify right now. Pretty surprising. I did not expect her to be that high.
Not a big artist in the U.S. for sure. So
no.
I was also surprised as well.
She has that Brit pop backing, and it's interesting because when I think of Ellie Goulding, I have a very distinct memory of being at Firefly in 2013 and walking by and seeing her on stage. And I think I heard Burn, and I was like, all right, I can go. I heard like the one song I really know and like by her, and like I headed out. Just kind of walked by, going to a different stage. And that's kind of always how I like imagined her, like she was one of those artists that would like pop up on a Zed song or on like a Diplo song, and like her vocals are very distinct. She has like that rasp that really I think sets her apart. But where she falls in like the female pop vocalist realm, I mean, I can't. It's hard to even rank her. Like, where do you think she falls?
Yeah, that was also framing my thoughts as well, because I think for me the song I would go to would be Lights from the first album. That is still a banger today. But yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking of like pop. You think of pop from England, and you have like the mega stars, right? Like Ed Sheeran and Adele, and I guess Dua's vastly approaching those levels too. And then after that, it seems like it's a lot of like new heads, right? It's like Georgia Smith, it's LMI, it's Louis Capaldi, it's Harry Styles and the 1D dudes, So like, where do we think of Ellie Goulding? Because she's only like, I don't know, 5-6 years older than Charlie XCX, but she just feels like she's from a way different generation, Like, I don't know. Do we put her in the Florence Welch generation of English singers? I don't know. She's hard to classify because she's, kind of like, I guess, Rita Ora to an even bigger extent. She's someone that really has not made any sustained musical footprint in the U.S., despite being very successful.
Yeah.
Across the pond.
Like, you have to think her biggest songs are big songs. Like you just mentioned, Lights. I Need Your Love with Calvin Harris was a huge hit. Burn, like I said, was pretty enormous. Then she's on the 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack. I mean, I feel like there are some real hits here. I think that's why it's so hard to like really place her, because she has these songs that pop up and you're just like, oh, like Ellie Goulding is fucking awesome, dude. Like this girl can sing. She's so distinct sounding. But then you like try to name like her top 10 songs and you're like, wait, I can't even think of 7 of them. It's tough. So really, really difficult to place. And never really like listening to her as like an artist in that way, just like going through albums. No, she was always a singles person for me. So listening to Brightest Blue, I found to be a really interesting experience, and kind of going back and listening to some of these other albums, it feels like Brightest Blue is probably the most cohesive sounding album that Ellie's had. Like it feels like from start to finish there was at least like a vision, and some really strong vocal performances. Also definitely trying out some new things. Like she's not just going for like the straight vocals here, but she's kind of switching up sounds, distorting a little bit. I thought it was pretty good. I'm going to say that. I'll let you kind of talk your piece, and we'll maybe pick apart some of these songs.
Yeah, I agree. With it? I also like haven't listened to Delirium or Halcyon or the first album, Lights. So like I don't really have a big frame of reference beyond the big hits that have popped, as you shared as well. So coming into this, I really actually didn't know what to expect, because I'm like, I don't even have any idea what a Ellie deep cut is,
Right.
And it's actually kind of weird, Brightest Blue, because at the back of this album, it's 19 tracks. And at the back of this, you have a string of 4 tracks with features, some of them quite big: Juice WRLD, Sway Lee, Black Bear. And I was like, wow, that reminds me kind of like the mainstream famous Ellie Goulding, right? And those songs, for the most part, are very different from what, I think the lyrical content from the rest of this album, when I think of a song like, say, Woman in the middle of the track list, right?
Yeah.
So I think, these cuts, they're, for the most part, she's trying to actually like look inward and be quite introspective and about, she hasn't released an album in 5 years. that's a long time in pop music.
Yeah.
And I think she's talked about some anxieties she's had in the studios and stuff, and in general, has a lot of experience in the industry. And trying to hear that come out here and there on this album, I did enjoy. But yeah, I'm curious what like hardcore Ellie Goulding fans think of this, because from what I understand, sonically, she has jumped around a bit in terms of the kind of music she's made. She almost was making more like stripped down tracks on the last album, I think, and she used to make much more electronic leaning songs. Now I think she's kind of settling into like a lighter synth pop, I guess. But as you said, there are some experimentations here. I think of like that interlude track "Wine Drunk," which is just heavy auto-tune inflection. So interesting for sure.
When it first started off with "Start," aptly titled song, I really felt like I was listening to Ellie Goulding doing a Weekend impression.
Ooh.
Like it really like the cadence and delivery, the flow, if you will, from Ellie, which I don't know if I've ever thought of Ellie Goulding's flow before. Really seemed like she was kind of stealing from like a song from Bright Lights or something like that a little bit. And I think I like seeing her try these things, because there's only so many times she can make a song like Close to Me, which I think is the obvious like pop song off this, like radio play song off this album to me, and really continue to grow as an artist. Like if she's really gonna just kind of back into that, I'm gonna do vocal features on EDM artist albums for the next 10 years, and that's gonna be her lane, like good for her. But she's definitely got more talent, and I think that shows in some of the songwriting on this. It comes, I think, across really well. You mentioned Woman. I think Ode to Self is a pretty like woman empowerment, like deep look at herself, which I thought was pretty good. I even thought Power and How Deep Is Too Deep were pretty strong songs as well. So there's a lot here to like, and I think Ellie Goulding is an artist. Maybe she's finding like what works for her, but like you said, she does seem to be kind of placing her bets or hedging her bets a bit with also doing this second part of the double album with these really big artists. Did you like any of the features on there? Any that stood out?
When I heard the song "Hate Me" with Juice last year, it didn't really stick with me. But listening to it again for this, I actually liked it. I thought it was actually a good mix.
Yeah.
And I think Ellie is like you mentioned, she has that song with Calvin Harris, and she has like, maybe she's almost underrated in her ability to like collaborate. I think, because she's dabbled with really a lot of sounds in the past 10 years or so. She actually can lend herself to a lot of other people. So
for sure,
it's a cool collab.
Yeah, I thought Slow Grenade, while the lyrical content was kind of stupid, how do you say it? Lauv?
Yeah.
Sounded just like Shawn Mendes to me on this,
yes.
And I thought they actually meshed together pretty well in terms of vocals. So I just want to hear a Shawn Mendes and Ellie song. Maybe they'll work together. Who knows?
That's a good one.
Any last thoughts on this or on Ellie in general?
Shout out Ellie Goulding, man.
Yeah, I like her.
Happy to talk about her again. First time on the pod. Again, it's been a long wait. So.
Yeah, 5 years. It's the last album.
So. Curious to see how this does here in the States.